Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Honey Buzz, the organic strategy game. So this is one of those games that is, like, they took a extremely cute theme, but actually made a good game out of it. Like, instead of, a game that we played recently about little robots, that there was no game. And this one's a little bit older, I think. I know they have an expansion coming out, which I backed. Even that was totally on a whim, just because I hadn't played Honey Buzz prior to backing it.
What? That doesn't sound like something you would do.
I never. Well, that's kind of the whole thing of backing games on Kickstarter is you don't play them before you just hope that they sound good.
This expansion came out after the game.
It's important to not learn from mistakes.
True. But it's by Elf Creek Games, and they're typically, like, reliable. And I had heard very good things, and this is one of those very sweet spots where there's enough strategy and there's enough spatial awareness going on to keep me engaged the entire time, instead of just like, oh, hey, it's a cute theme, and go through the motions. So I really like it. What do you guys think?
Very cute. Very adorable. Very well...
The art is really...
honestly. I love the just the general vibe of the game and the little puzzle that the honeycomb makes. A little puzzle, very loosely a puzzle, but still a puzzle enough, because you do have to
do I want to put
watch
it here?
you gotta
turn
watch
it this way.
how you put it
How
down.
am I going to build on the next one?
Yeah. Well, because the honeycomb is extremely fascinating. It's obviously the main focal point because it's a worker placement, but your workers don't give you the action. That they give you a piece of that action, which you only get to execute if you place it in a spot that finishes out a honeycomb.
Yeah.
And I think that's extremely fascinating because it's enough spatial awareness that it's not obvious, but there is definitely a point where you're like, oh, if I want to build an engine, you really have to actually build that engine, because eventually, I was trying to go the accountant spot, but it's like, oh man, you would really have to work on getting it to where you get one big lump sum of money, and that means you're not doing other stuff.
Yeah, but you did once, you got 3.
Yeah, I almost had 4. And but it's like you have that freedom to be able to plan for something like that. You give up, doing other actions to be like, okay, I'm gonna place that there. My turn's over. All right, and then you guys do stuff, and then it comes back, and then so you're doing one piece at a time, and then boom, you get it. You get to do one big mega action, and it's like satisfaction.
That you've been planning out for 3 turns.
Exactly, which is also nice because it's like it's a slight engine builder, but it's not like a full game thing where you did the entire, 45 minutes to get it going, and then you're like, oh, wait, the game's over? Right. Like, you get short snippets of kind of something building towards, and you're like, oh, and now I get to reap the benefits. Oh, and there's still more game. Brett, what do you think?
I agree. Moderate level of strategy. The first game, or probably from A2, was just trying to really understand how all the mechanics work and how everything works. This time I really felt like I could start putting together something of a strategy, and boy, it came close to working. But, it's, again, multiple game mechanics, none of which are the focus. They're all important. Right. But none of them are... There's the tile drafting, but there's plenty of tiles that most tile drafting is you're possibly strategizing screwing other people at the same time. This one, that only comes up at the very end.
Right. And it's even one of those things where if that does happen, like when Kat took the accountant tile, it was like, oh, dang it. Okay, well, luckily I can use another tile to at least finish out my comb. Like, I didn't need that piece. It was just going to be an extra 5 coins. So it's like, okay, well, I'll take a market and then get my 15, use the decree to fan, and then sell. And it's like, okay, I actually ended up making more money that way because my initial plan was to get 20 coins and that's it. Yeah.
I like the worker placement concept of no space is ever blocked. Yeah. You just have to have enough workers to use it.
Yeah. Which is definitely kind of a meta, like, that should almost always be someone's first spot. Like, first player, I mean, yeah, you start with less money, but I don't know. I think being able to send one bee to go to that spot,
Yep.
and
This is clearly one where having a plethora, having a stockpile of workers is very valuable.
yeah, which makes one thematic sense, like in terms of being worker bees and stuff like that. But you also just now you're not as blocked. It comes to the point of like, I can't go there versus. Is it really worth going there? Like, do I want to send 3 bees to that spot? Do I want to send 4?
Or, well, I can put 2 over there, but then I'll only have 2 left, so I can't really do
And
anything with that on the next turn.
Yeah.
So,
But you also get to do really cool things about the comb that Cat pulled off was
yeah.
building and then being like, I completed 2.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my.
And so now you can do like 8 things all at once, and I fulfilled an order. Well, there's a 9th thing.
Yep, that's true. I mean, and that's what I like. I also like the fact that it's not just one big, like 15 coins or something. It's also, I'm going to use this fan to produce and this one market action to sell those. I'm going to use my second fan to produce. I have a decree, so I'm actually going to, forage and get this tile and place that in. And then, so you can actually do a lot of really neat things. And in one turn, if you set up efficiently, be like, and I fulfilled all 3 orders, which is not nothing. That's like 14, like 21 points.
Yeah,
something like that.
That can be done with proper planning.
And then I get all 3 actions. So I'm gonna, fan again, produce these, use my market to sell, and then forage and get a pollen. And it's like, oh man, I got like 40 points out of that. It's like,
so instead of a single engine building, you're actually building multiple small engines.
You can, yeah. On top of the fact that one of my favorite things about the game is actually its setup. Like, which is very rare. I barely ever bring up setup as something to bring as a compliment. Usually it's just, you set up the game.
Well, yeah, because it's usually identical.
Yeah. But like the fact that you have multiple cards that dictate, okay, whoever is the first player, they set their personal combs up in this pattern.
Right.
And everyone else copies that. Which is very interesting because the first player could be like, okay, do I want to make this easier on myself and therefore easier on my opponents? Or do I want to make it harder on myself? Or can I think of a unique strategy with this layout that someone else might not see? And then build for that. And then that's just a advantage of being first player, I guess. I think there is kind of a first player problem. In this, yeah, you mentioned that there's a distinct advantage to being first player, and you guys can agree or disagree. But I think when you go first, just the fact that you get to be like, boom, and that's just
nobody else can go there.
No one else can go there because we all have one worker, and you also get to decide how that's ordered.
Right.
Because obviously you
can strategize your first move, and no one can stop you.
Right.
Everybody else is, I got to deal with this.
Okay, yeah, this is how I have it, and I think that's very odd. I like it as kind of a setup, but the fact that others have to copy it is just like, okay, that's a little weird. But
it gives everyone the same starting point, and we get different levels of resources. So the disadvantage of going first is you're already 10 points behind third player.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. But it's so easy to...
It's much more difficult for you to do an expensive move. And somebody else can go, I got plenty of money, I can go there right now.
That's true, yeah, get the decrees.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not too bad, is it?
I think it balances nicely.
Okay.
That's my feeling. Of course, I've never gone first, so...
Right.
It may be coincidence that first player has always won.
Sure.
Isn't there
But
also...
it also might be coincidence that the best player has always won.
Well, I mean... I didn't say it.
Isn't there a stipulation on who goes first, like the last person?
It's always some stupid rule that no one ever follows.
The last person to stick their face in a
if you're not playing those games at like conventions where you're always playing with someone different, then those things are cute the first game.
Yeah.
And then it's dumb every other time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, actually, I thought there was.
See, I thought there was for this one.
There's just so many.
Yeah.
First person who's tried to pet a bee.
Hey. It almost worked.
Only person who's ever tried to
I learned. I've never tried to pet one again.
Fair enough. That's all it took.
Well, No, I don't think there is one.
Okay.
But I mean, there are
I was
some.
gonna say, I was like, because I mean, I guess that would make it a little more fair. You go to a big game day and people are like, oh, I was the last one to put a wildflower in my pants, so I'll go first.
I don't think I want to play this game.
Actually, here's a flower.
Oh, is that what you're calling it these
Change
days?
your mind.
It's warm.
Very.
Yeah, it's hot. It's
It's
wilted.
a little bit soupy.
I'm going to kill you. I think I might kill you.
Someone's like, do we know this person? No.
No, it's a convention. What do you expect? But what's also fascinating is each time we've played, I've taken very different levels of strategy, and they've all panned out. Like what was yours? Was like 150 or 160,
somewhere in the 150s.
And it's like I didn't go the entire game by doing a market until the very end,
right.
And it was just, I mean, it didn't even really matter because like the order I was able to fulfill was a forage, an extra forage action. It's like, oh yeah, pollen. That's 1 point because I can't sell it. But that's the thing is like. You could probably just go full accountant if no one else is taking them, and you just keep taking them. You just keep getting money, which is also points. It's like, okay,
but again, that's only for when you can build around them. They're not
Right.
automatically happening.
right? But I mean,
But they could be 3 or 4 uses each.
exactly. So you,
3.
huh?
They can touch 3 different
Right,
completed. So
Yeah.
they could placed properly. They could be used 3 times each.
exactly. And then also on top of decrees, like you can just.
Do it again.
I mean, at that point, you're breaking even because you're just using the 5 coins to pay for a decree just to use that decree to get the 5 coins back.
Yeah, except the degree you could do for other things.
You could if that wasn't
down
working.
the road.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I like the Queen's Contest cards. I like the fact that there's end of game stuff as well as a race in the middle. Gives kind of a direction in what to go for. It's also extremely simple. I don't think this game is difficult to teach or learn at all.
No.
It's like the only confusing thing is the way that the how you place nectar. It's just like, oh hey, okay, the wildflower and the cherry blossom both require a total of, and that's the way they explain it's kind of confusing.
Right.
Because it's like you need 4 tiles to make, or 3 or 4 tiles. I think it's 3, 4. Yeah, 3 tiles, 4 tiles, and then 5 for the other one. So the acacia and the rosemary you have to set up for.
Well, yeah, there aren't any that are all white.
There are not.
Because that would be 6 all pointed outward.
Yeah, which, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something they added in the expansion.
Either that or they just realized in playtesting it's just not worth it. It takes too long.
Probably not. I mean, it would either take too long. I mean, you'd get potentially 6 actions out of it.
I also feel like the way that these are set up, like since they're not perfectly, they don't mesh perfectly. I feel like 6 would be a little overwhelming and messy.
It would also, yeah, because this, I mean, for as small of a box as this is, it's kind of a table hog, just because you have no finite control over how people are building.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
funny enough,
like
you two are pretty close on order.
Yeah.
Well, we ended up just completing stuff.
Yeah.
So we ended up fairly round.
Yeah, and I didn't. It looks cool though. It's one of those very like pleasing things that you get to. I just like games where you get to at the end be like, oh, I built this.
This is
Like
nice.
it's obviously not like city building where you get like a story out of it, but it's just like, hey, that looks like a honeycomb.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with the empty holes, and then oh hey, there's the honey that's in there, and it's just adorable.
Yeah.
Our game took. Oh, I was gonna say that's why I took a forage action or a market, because I will say that our game, and this could have been specifically because I was actively avoiding going to the market. It did run longer than I wanted it to.
Yeah, and it was probably
You
the
started being done with it?
Well, like we all were. Like you were. I mean, it was kind of like.
Well, I knew I was 3 moves away from doing anything.
Right, so it does kind of come, not necessarily to a screeching halt, and that's not it's not a negative thing, but, I mean, what does the box say?
It doesn't...
45 to 90, oh god, I would not like this game at 90 minutes.
Yeah, because it doesn't not pump the brakes. It
Right.
definitely does. Because, yeah, just at one point you sort of just start to stall, almost.
Yeah.
that you're like, it's sort of...
There's nothing left to forage.
Yeah, it's kind of pushing it at this point.
Yeah, like we've had 2 things that are gone, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I could take that. I don't really want to do that action.
But also with only
You're
2
right.
out of the 3 players actively selling.
That's
going to make a difference.
Right, one of the 2 endgame conditions is, 2 of the market decks running out.
Yep.
And, okay, well, I'm not doing that, and I'm barely selling. A lot of my money came from my accountant stuff, and the two contests. Right. So it was like, one person out of 3 was not actively participating in the end game conditions. So I mean, we got closer. It literally took Cat to get 2 sell actions. They'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sell a pollen because I have one. I'm gonna sell a wildflower because I have one, and boom, now the game's over. Or everyone gets 1 more turn. But it was like, let's just fucking call it. So I'll just take this market that didn't even matter. It just ended the game. That was my main focus. I was like, I don't want the 9 points. I don't think I'm going to need it because I'm just so much better.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm the best bee in the world. I'm the best bee in the business.
Top dog.
Business. And, I'm talking about ruff. So, other than that would be you guys got any negatives? Any complaints?
Not until you mentioned that. And it's not a complaint, that's just there's a point at which it goes, well, that's pretty much all there is to it.
Yeah,
now we're just going through a couple more motions.
Mm-hmm. I'm no longer engaged. Like, the puzzle, I figured it out this game, so it's like, okay. Oh, wow, we still got... Because, I thought Kat was going to be able to do this. So I was like, yes, I'm going to be able to not do an order the whole game. And then it's like, nope, she doesn't have any wildflowers.
And with proper planning... Well, actually, I was going after it.
I see.
But I didn't have my clusters.
You would have had to do multiple fan actions.
I needed to do 2 more actions, which would have been 3 or 4 more turns easily.
Yeah. So I was like, I guess I'll do it. Okay. But other than that, I will say, after multiple playthroughs, I do think it warrants an expansion, which I'm glad it's coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's bringing. I'd have to go look. Mm-hmm. It's called Fall something. It's in the fall. It's like the theme of it.
Autumn harvest.
Probably something like that. Let me take a good old gander.
The fall of man.
They rise up.
Planet of the bees.
Planet of the bees.
Yeah, it's actually honey buzz too. The buzzing.
Fall flavors.
Aww. So we're gonna get some fall.
Okay, mix and match to add. Oh, it's modular. Fall fruit. Forage in a new field of flowers and collect fruit instead of pollen. Sell your collected apples, pears, and pumpkins at the market, or save them up to complete special new orders for honey-dipped fruit. Autumn leaves module. Collect colorful leaves found on the new leafy hive tiles as a means of decorating your hive for the queen. Okay, so they have 5 modules. Nectar caps module. Put caps on your nectar cells to prepare for winter. Harvest Festival module. Trim your labor force by retiring your workers and sending them off on the Harvest Festival. Oh, that's cool. As each worker retires, you choose whether they propose a toast or work one last time. And Sweetwater Sunset. When playing with fall flavors, use the new Sunset board to track progress towards the end of the game.
I feel like that game is just a big euphemism for death.
It's in the same. It gives me the same kind of vibe as Everdell expansions do, where it's like, okay, here's the festival expansion, here's the Trek Out in the Land expansion, here's that's the only 2 I can really think of. But I mean, a modular expansion is just the way to go. I think every time you just like, hey, here's 5 things you can add to your game. So that's exciting because I think more orders are great. Or more contests, more orders, more stuff with this, a new board. The one thing that we haven't played is there is another side to this.
Oh, don't mess it up.
Where you have certain, like the nectar tiles. Like, so this would, like, there's multiples of these, and they're face down like that.
Oh, okay.
And whenever you harvest, I can't remember specifically if you look at it, or if you pick it up at the same time, but there's a memory element to it. So whenever you look, you can be like, oh, I don't need that one right now. But yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah. You guys got anything else?
Nope.
All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you guys give Honey Buzz?
Give
I'll-
it.
I'll stay 8.
8.
I was
That's
gonna
where I'm
say
at.
8,
8.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Solid.
It's weird. It's like it's extremely solid, but it's like, well, I can't give it a 9 or 10. It's not that good.
No. I'm a little surprised it hasn't become a gateway game, or at least I haven't heard that it is.
I have heard from a lot of people who have played it is that it's unexpectedly deeper than what you would think it would be.
Right.
And I would agree. I think that's why it's not a gateway game, is because this is probably too spatial awareness for a gateway. Like, to me, what a lot of people consider gateway games, or even what some people consider complex, I'm like, did you graduate? like, all right, yeah, whatever, each their own. So, yeah, no, I would never consider this a gateway. I mean, for me, it would be, and like, I would teach anyone this.
Right.
But it's kind of like, I think the best test of a gateway game for anyone, if you're trying to figure out if a game's gateway, see if you can teach your parents how to play. Because if your parents are in their 50s now or older, some of them just don't get games.
Yeah.
And the ones that do, like after a few games, like my mom was able to figure out Quacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit, is Quacks a gateway game? I mean, there's not really a lot to it, but I think there's more than some of the ones I've tried to teach. But
Yeah.
Some games do feel like jobs. Like,
Kanban, the game.
hey, you ever want to learn how to build a car
No.
or run a machine factory?
You ever want to?
You ever seen a grown man naked? You like gladiator movies?
Can I bring my sister?
No, she'll ruin it. So yeah, no, it's a little. I mean, I would call this next level though.
Yeah, okay, I see that.
But
Simple enough to learn, but yeah, there's enough strategic element
Mm-hmm.
to scare off newbies.
yeah, it's super adorable. This is in the same vein at, like, I just love these kinds of games, like Calico, Everdell, Cascadia. Just that, and it's not really anthropomorphic, but it is, because they're running a business and selling to these woodland creatures.
Yeah.
And it's just cute. The order cards are super cute. This fox is just like dipping his hand in the honey, and I love it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 from all of us.
Cool.
So that was Honey Buzz. Everyone, let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.